Hi friends, today's pick a card reading is all about answering the question, what is transforming in your career and your money and finances next? Today's reading's focus is on changes and any sort of developments that are happening for you in your career or your finances. This is a timeless, intuitive reading that's meant to guide you towards getting deeper clarity and empowerment in your career and your finances. So we're going to talk about how these things will evolve and what you'll achieve or you'll realize next. If you would like to explore my podcast or check out my online shop, please check out the links below in the description. And if you are new to pick a card readings, here's how it works. The first thing that you're going to do is you are going to pick the pile or the crystal that you are the most intuitively drawn to. So we have pile 1 here with the Rhodonite crystal. We have pile 2 here with the heat-treated citrine. We have pile 3 here with the rose quartz chunk. And then we have pile 4 here with the tree agate crystal. You can choose one pile, you can choose more than one, or you can choose all of them. It is totally up to you. But when you're ready, go to the description in this video and you can find the timestamp that is linked to your pile so you can skip ahead to your reading. Thank you so much for letting me read for you, and I will see you on the inside. Okay, so pile 1. So we have the 2 of Cups here. This card, in the context of career and finances, signifies a time of harmony and collaboration and mutual support, right? So maybe this could manifest in a couple different ways, right? So for your career, maybe this represents some sort of like significant partnership that plays a big transformative role in your career. Maybe this is a new business collaboration or a mentorship, or maybe even a coworker who, really complements your skills here. Now, I also feel like this card could represent maybe alignment with purpose, right? Maybe you find opportunities that resonate really deeply with your values and your passions. And I think that this alignment can actually bring you a lot more satisfaction and a lot more balance into your professional life. I think that this card right here can also represent things like strong teamwork, right? And like emotional connections in your workplace. So I do think that whatever changes or transformations that are coming your way, pile 1, are related to some sort of like sense of shared purpose or mutual respect, or really fostering growth and productivity together, right? It's the sense of togetherness. Now, in terms of your money and your finances, this could represent things like shared resources, right? So maybe your financial situation improves as you pool resources with somebody you trust, right? Such as like a business partner or a spouse. I think that this represents some sort of like cooperation and shared goal, right? And I think that this is what's going to lead you to more abundance. I also think this represents harmony in transactions, right? So maybe you find like a smoother flow in any sort of like financial dealings that you have, maybe more like clear communication or agreements, contracts that benefit all parties. Maybe this also represents you investing in relationships. So maybe your finances and your money transform and change because you invest in, a relationship, right? So networking or, working on projects with people that you trust. I just think that there's something to do with a partnership that's going to lead to long-term gains for you. Now we also have the 6 of Cups in reverse here. So with this card, I feel like maybe this represents like a need to break free from outdated ways of thinking about maybe money or work, right? So I don't know if some of you here have been maybe some of you here have been clinging to old habits or maybe jobs or, financial practices that don't really serve your current goals. Right? So I think that whatever change or whatever transformation you're about to go through, pile 1, it's going to encourage you to leave behind these patterns. In a career context, I feel like the 6 of Cups in reverse also could represent maybe you stepping outside of your comfort zone, right? Or like you moving on or like moving away from any sort of like dependency on past relationships or jobs or mentors. Maybe some of you here are moving towards more self-reliance, right? Or taking on some sort of role that requires a greater responsibility. I also feel like this represents healing any sort of like financial or career wounds as well, right? So if there's any sort of like unresolved issues from your financial past, right? Like debt or mistakes or feelings of inadequacy, I just think that maybe your change or your transformation could come from addressing and releasing these burdens and really like making way for a fresh start. There's a very positive feeling here, Pile 1. There's a focus on future goals here, right? Forward thinking. I think this is a great time for you to set clear goals. It's a great time to invest in skills or opportunities that really align with where you want to be rather than where you've been, right? I also think that this represents you redefining your joy in work. So maybe you're going to be reassessing, what really truly brings you satisfaction and fulfillment in your career or your financial pursuits. And maybe you're going to discover that whatever once made you like happy in the past, maybe it doesn't make you feel happy anymore, right? Maybe you feel drawn to pursue a different avenue in work, whether this is more meaningful work, maybe whether this is more of a steady job, a more predictable one. It really all just depends on your situation. Now, in terms of how your career and your finances are going to evolve, we also have abundance here. This one says grape, and we have Sagittarius energy here. So I definitely think that your abundance is going to expand, right? Sagittarius is a sign that expands, that goes beyond, right? So sky's the limit here. I think that you're actually going to come into more money than you actually realize, Pile 1. Because Sagittarius here, it really inspires you to like broaden your horizons, right? So maybe you're going to be drawn to opportunities that involve traveling or education or working with people from diverse backgrounds, right? So maybe some of you here are stepping into more of a global market, or some of you here are going to be pursuing higher studies, right? Or venturing into new industries. I think that the symbol of grape also represents things like richness and creativity as well. So I do think that your career is probably going to evolve by you leveraging your creative skills or taking a more imaginative approach to problem solving. So I don't know if this is going to manifest as you like starting a passion project or collaborating on innovative ideas, or maybe even taking on some sort of leadership role in your creative ventures. But I do think that with Sagittarius here, it brings in a sense of hope. It brings in this big picture thinking. So I do think that Pile 1, you're about to develop a very clear vision for your career, for your finances. And I do think that this is representative of you aligning your daily efforts with your long-term goals. I think that you're going to be taking calculated risks, right? Maybe you find new financial opportunities in ventures that you've, vetted out very well. Maybe you've gotten some advice on this from a trusted professional, right? But I do think that you're going to be making like really positive, informed decisions that are going to pay off in the future. I also think that with grape here, this talks also about generosity and flow. So maybe you experience a flow of wealth that allows you to be generous with others, right? Because I do feel like this is my pile that has that very generous spirit. We also, with the 10 of Cups here, it just reminds me of like taking care of your loved ones, having the happiness and the harmony of family or, close connections here. So especially with the 2 of Cups as well. So I think that the changes that are coming your way also involve you being able to take care of other people as well, if you feel drawn to that or called to that. Something to do with like sharing resources or investing in others is what I'm feeling here. It's going to bring even more prosperity into your life. Yeah. Okay, we also have dignified here. This one says strength. So with this, I feel like you're going to be going through a period where your hard work and your persistence are going to earn you a lot of recognition. There's something about your presence in the workplace, Pile 1, that really exudes a lot of confidence. And so I think that this makes other people see you as a leader or like a really big, like key contributor. You know what I mean? Like in your field. I also feel like this represents you building a very strong financial foundation. I think this represents you having stability in your finances, stability in your career. Maybe you're going to be saving, maybe you're going to be making wise investments, right? I just think that you're going to be creating a very secure foundation for your future. And there's something about you like climbing the stairs to like your destiny too. Like your financial destiny is what I keep hearing. I also feel like this is my pile that is going to have like wealth that's very much aligned with your natural integrity, right? So I do think that your finances are going to grow as you keep showing up as your best, authentic, ethical self, right? So I do think that you are like, again, going to get a lot of like mutual respect or like respect from your community because of your professionalism in your dealings, right? In your work, in your finances. I keep hearing like it's going to yield a lot of respect from your colleagues. I also feel like people are going to recognize your worth, right? They're going to, and it's not that like you're looking for that external validation, but I keep hearing like maybe your compensation is going to change like in a better way. Like they're like, wow, you know, this person, right? Pile 1 is a very key player in our company or in this role or, you know, whatever your situation is. I just feel like you're going to command a lot of respect. I do think that you're going to get, you know, the right compensation, the fair compensation. And I also think that you're going to get like more opportunities to like elevate this standing in whatever field you're in. So I want to talk about what you will achieve next. We have the 9 of Wands here. We also have the 10 of Cups. So with the 9 of Wands here, I think that you're about to near the completion of maybe like a challenging phase, right? In your career or your finances or like your personal journey, right? For those of you in this pile who have gone through setbacks and you're just exhausted, just know that your determination and your strength will definitely allow you to push through and achieve success. It's like the card of being almost to the finish line, right? The success is right around the corner. You might be feeling battered and bruised and worn down, but this is the card to like keep going, right? The card of resilience. You've built resilience and your efforts are definitely about to pay off. I do think that you're going to recognize the importance of boundaries and protecting what you've worked so hard to achieve, because this card also represents us to, you know, acknowledge the importance of having those boundaries. You see, she's got her fence here. She's standing behind there and it's not, you know, completely walled off, but she's like, hey, you know, I've got my boundaries. With the 10 of Cups here, this is the card of joy. It's the card of love. It's also the card of this feeling of contentment, right? The ultimate contentment. So I do think that you're going to find yourself achieving this deep sense of fulfillment in your relationships, in your home life, in your community, right? In your career, in your finances. I do think that your efforts are going to lead to this really nice harmonious balance between your personal life and your career, and there's just a lot of happiness in the home for you. I do think that you're also going to realize that true success is not just about material gains, but it's also about creating a life that's filled with things like love and connection and purpose. And so I do think that you're going to understand how your relationships and your emotional well-being contribute to your overall happiness, pile 1. We also have the Mystic. This one says K2 or K2. And then it says, I am spiritually wealthy. And here are some descriptors, I think, that describe your natural talents, your natural abilities here, pile 1. You have spiritual, sensitive, unconventional, transcendent, intuitive, introverted, illuminating, artistic, ingenious, intense, imaginative, innovative, revolutionary, rebellious, and mysterious. Ooh. So I do think that in terms of like what you will achieve, I think that you're gonna like achieve a deeper sense of connection to your intuition and your higher self, pile 1. So I don't know if you're gonna have like heightened psychic abilities or spiritual insights or some sort of realization of your soul's purpose, but I do think that you're gonna come to an understanding that there is value in letting go of like material driven desires, right? Or ego driven desires that no longer serve your growth. I think this is the card that invites us to release any attachments to outcomes and really trust the flow of life. And this is what's going to bring more peace, more enlightenment, more happiness, right? We have the acknowledge change card here, and this one says, you know that change is bound to happen, but it can be hard to recognize as it's happening. When you're feeling out of touch, perhaps something has shifted. Try to identify the changes in your life. Observe the differences in your approach, your circumstances, and your relationships. When you acknowledge change, you open up the internal lines of communication. You're free to reconsider and make the adjustments you need. Let change be an internal conversation starter. Interesting. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of you are already going through a lot of change, or some of you are already going through a lot of transformation. I think that this is my pal that can feel it, right? You know that you're on the precipice of some really beautiful change in your life. So thank you so much, pile one. Please give this video a big thumbs up if it resonates with you. It really does help the channel. Comment below with what pile you chose, because you know I love to chat with you all in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much. Please take care of yourself, pile one. I do hope to see you on the next video after this. Check out my channel, Tidal Tarot. I've got a bunch of different pick a card readings for you to explore. But if not this time, I will see you on the next video. Bye, pile one. So pile two, welcome, welcome. Okay, so the first card that we have here, pile two, is the Six of Swords. So in terms of what is transforming in your career and finances, I feel like you're going to be moving on from any sort of challenges that you've been facing when it has to do with your career, right? So if you have been feeling stuck, or maybe you haven't been feeling very happy or content in your career, if so, then the Six of Swords does represent that you're going to make a shift towards some sort of role or some sort of environment that is a better fit, or like a better alignment for you as it comes to like your needs and your values. This could represent a relocation of some sort or a change of scenery. This card can talk about making like a physical move, or getting a new job in a different location, or in a different location, or a metaphorical one, like stepping into a new industry or a new position. I also feel like this represents you having support on your journey, right? So maybe you have some sort of help from like a mentor or a colleague, or some sort of support network that is able to help and assist you with navigating this transition smoothly. Now, we also, in terms of money and finances, I think that the Six of Swords here represents you letting go of financial stress. So for those of you in this pile who have felt burdened by things like debt, burdened by things like financial uncertainty, this card, I feel like you're gonna progress towards a more balanced and manageable situation. I do think that you're going to focus on, planning very clearly and making decisions that help you to stabilize and to grow your resources. I also feel like some of you here might receive some really important advice, or some sort of like really important financial plan, or some sort of other tool that helps you to navigate your finances and your money more effectively. We also have the Queen of Wands here. So with the Queen of Wands here, I feel like you're going to be stepping into leadership in some way, right? So maybe you take on a more prominent or authoritative role, right? Maybe you step into something where you can showcase your unique skills, and that you can like inspire others with your vision, right? Because the Queen of Wands is a visionary. Now, this card can also talk about like creative projects. So any sort of creative or like passion-driven endeavor that you've been working on, pile two, just know that it's going to flourish here with the Queen of Wands, right? So whether you've launched a new project or a new initiative, or maybe you're leading a team in some way, or you're embarking on a project that's really going to require your imagination and your creativity, I think this is something that's going to take off, right? So whether you're starting a podcast or a YouTube channel, I just do think that you have this very magnetic energy, and your confidence and just that natural enthusiasm that you have are going to bring you a lot more opportunities. I do think that people are going to be gravitating towards you in terms of like guidance or like collaboration in some way. I definitely think that you're going to feel empowered to pursue your goals, right? With a very ambitious energy. And many of you here are going to start a new venture that really does align with your passions. So, I do think that in terms of your money and finances and how that's going to change, I think that financial success is going to come from you doing work that is exciting to you and that inspires you. So I don't know if some of you here are going to monetize a hobby or leverage a skill that you're really passionate about. I also feel like this energy could encourage you making more like calculated risks, right? Or calculated investments in terms of like your time and your energy and maybe your resources in the areas that you really believe in. And I also feel like this represents you having more confidence in your money matters. So I definitely think that pile 2, you're going to feel more in control of your finances. I do think that you're going to be making bold but really well considered decisions, and this is going to improve your financial situation a lot. Now, let's keep talking about how your career and your finances are going to improve. We have the productivity card. This one says Kent Pumpkin, and we have Cancer energy here. So I do think that this represents your career growing steadily, right? I do think that you're building something sustainable by committing to things like consistency and hard work. So this is definitely something that's going to pay off. With Cancer's influence here, I do feel like your career is going to align with what really feels meaningful and supportive to you. You might even find or create work that feels like home, right? But I do think that there's this focus on care, right? Maybe there are going to be opportunities coming up for you that are related to things like caregiving or education or home-based businesses, or maybe something that has to do with like emotional support, right? You have this really cool ability to create a very secure environment for others, and I think this is where you shine. So in terms of your finances, I do think that it's going to be a time of harvest for you. So any sort of like efforts that you've been nurturing, these are the things that are about to bear fruit. Financial rewards are going to come from consistent work and you continuing to invest in, stable long-term opportunities. So, yeah, I just think that you're going to be nurturing your resources in some way. We also have Venus, and this one says Beloved. So again, I think that this represents creativity in your career, right? Because Venus inspires us to integrate art and beauty and things like harmony into our life. So I don't know if for some of you here, you feel like you want to lean into more creative fields or collaborations or projects that really do bring joy to you. Venus is also about connection too. So your charm and your ability to build meaningful partnerships can really open doors in your career. Now, I also feel like you might focus on work that allows you to express your passions and your values. And I do think that this could lead to greater recognition and satisfaction for you too. So in terms of finances, I think that you can look forward to things like increased abundance, right? Because Venus is the planet that is concerned with things like wealth and luxury and enjoying ourselves. So maybe your finances grow or improve through things like art or beauty or your relationships. I feel like for some of you too, maybe your finances improve because of a partner. That's just for a specific some of you. Another thing here, I feel like with Venus here, you're going to be spending wisely on joy, right? Because Venus supports spending on what you love. It supports beautifying your surroundings and enhancing your quality of life, or investing in experiences that really do bring you happiness. I also think that with this, you're going to strive for more balance in your financial life, and I think sweet results await. And I also feel like you're going to be aligning your income and your expenses with your values and your sense of beauty. So yes. Oh, and I also wanted to mention that like the camera battery kept dying, like my other candle wouldn't stay lit. So I added some extra, like some new candles and some extra candles because I felt like we needed an extra boost. So I don't know if this pile 2, I don't know if you guys have been feeling low energy or you feel like your spark has been put out a bit, but I really do think that good things are ahead because there is a transition here into more energy, more confidence, right? The Wands is all about that creativity, passion, motivation, confidence. We also have the Four of Wands here too. So yes, good things are on the horizon, pile 2. Okay, so let's keep talking about what you will achieve or what you will realize next in terms of your career and your money. So we have the Four of Wands here. So this can represent an achievement of a milestone. So I do think that you're entering a phase where you're going to accomplish something very significant. So I don't know if this is a career breakthrough or the completion of a project, or maybe some of you here are going to be reaching a personal goal. I do think that this is the energy of harmony and support, right? This represents having this sense of belonging and this sense of collaboration. And with this will like boost your success. So I don't know if you're going to find success through partnerships or team efforts or celebrating with loved ones. I also think you're building the foundation for your future, right? Because 4 in numerology represents stability and foundation and those things like that. So I really think that for you, pile 2, this is not just a momentary win, but this is truly the establishment of you building a very solid base for yourself for further growth, right? And for long-term success. We also have the 8 of Pentacles here. This can represent things like recognition of expertise. So I do think that you have this dedication to honing your skills and it's going to pay off, pile 2. Other people are noticing this commitment and this precision and this talent. People are noticing your commitment to growth. You have been the one who has been actively building your expertise, working on refining your craft, or developing a new skill that will elevate your career. This card can also talk about increased income or opportunities as a result of you being so diligent and as a result of you being so focused on your craft. For all my witchy people here in pile 2, I don't think it was a mistake that I said craft. So keep that in mind too. That's for specific some of you. We also have the celebrity here. So this one says, I lead with my light. Some of you here in pile 2 are on social media. So in terms of like your career, money, your finances, that kind of stuff. Some of you are on social media. But okay, this one says, I lead with my light. And I do think that these descriptors down here are representative of your natural traits, pile 2. So you are charismatic, imaginative, luminous, confident, authentic, inspiring, passionate, magnetic, impactful, public, fashionable, independent, noble, generous, and unique. So I do think in terms of what's transforming in your career and in your finances, pile 2, you're going to be stepping into the spotlight in some way. So I do think that you're going to be more visible, more admired, and definitely more recognized for your achievements. So I don't know if this is going to manifest as a promotion or some sort of public acknowledgement, or maybe you just are going to feel more confident in your role. But there is this sense of like personal empowerment here, pile 2. So with the energy of the sun here, it can talk about things like self-confidence and clarity. So I definitely think that you are on this journey where you're going to realize that you have these very special, unique talents and you shine very brightly because of them. This also represents joy and fulfillment in your work and in your money and your finances. I do think that your success is going to come with this very deep sense of happiness, and you're going to have a lot of pride in your work and in what you've contributed to the world. So yeah, I definitely think that you just have a lot of potential, pile 2, to inspire and uplift other people by just being your authentic, hardworking, radiant self. So I do think that this is a time to embrace your accomplishments and enjoy the recognition that you deserve and use this momentum to really propel yourself to bigger and greater heights, right? We also have what's going right. So this one says, gratitude is always good for you, but it hits different when you're having a rough day. Notice the things that are going right, no matter how small they seem. Savor that perfectly ripe avocado. Appreciate the fact that your winged liner is perfectly even. Allow yourself to feel giddy when your favorite song comes on shuffle. Acknowledging what's going right isn't meant to diminish your feelings about what's going wrong. Think of it as a practice of zooming out. You're able to engage with the full picture of your life, both the good and the difficult. I like this. This reminds me of, you know, the whole like glimmers versus triggers talk online. So it's like our triggers, right? Like it's easy to point out what triggers us, what really like turns us and, you know, turns us on and like, not turns us on, but what really gets us going, what really irritates us. But with glimmers, it's like you are acknowledging the little positive things, little and big positive things that, you know, are going on in your day. So like, I remember the other day I was going into like the main hub of our town, and I like didn't hit any traffic. I got there in like half the time, and I was like, whoa, like I like blinked and I was there. And I was like, okay, this is a glimmer. Because I was like super stressed before leaving the house, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna hit traffic and you know, it's gonna go X, Y, and Z. And it's interesting what acknowledging a glimmer, right? Acknowledging what's going right in your life, it almost like changes the trajectory. It changes the tune of things, and it leads you to a better situation than you would have ever expected. So maybe this is a reminder to like just keep acknowledging what's going right, you know? And yeah, so thank you so much, Pile 2. I hope that this video helps. I hope it resonates. Please give this video a like if it does. Please comment below with what pile you chose. You know I love to chat with you all in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't. Please take care. I hope to see you on the next reading after this. Check out my channel, Tidal Tarot. I've got a bunch of different pick a card readings for you to explore. But if not this time, I will see you next time. Bye, Pile 2. Okay, so Pile 3, welcome to your reading. What is transforming in your career and finances? We have the Emperor here, and with the Emperor, I feel like you're going to go through some sort of period where you're focused on building a very solid foundation and being a little bit more disciplined and organized in your approach to your work and your finances. So I don't know if for some of you, maybe career stability and leadership are on the horizon. I think that some of you here are going to get an increase in responsibility or leadership in your career. So for some of you here, you may find yourself stepping into some sort of like, you know, leadership role or managerial role or some sort of like authoritative role, right? One where you take charge of projects, or maybe some of you here are going to be leading teams. But I do think that this is a time for you to harness your ambition and to set really clear long-term goals. I also feel like the Emperor here signifies financial discipline and growth. So when it comes to your finances, the Emperor signals a time to bring more order to your financial situation. So I don't know if this means like creating and sticking to a budget, or investing in long-term wealth, or taking a more like structured approach to money management, right? I think that with this too, there's also the potential for promotions and pay raises, or, you know, things like advancements that really will bring a lot more financial security. Now, I feel like you're going to be making a lot more strategic decisions here. Decisions that are based a little bit more on logic and strategy rather than things like impulse, right? So it's definitely this time for you to think big, Pile 3, but it's also about practically making calculated moves that really do lead you to more stability and more success, right? So I don't know if this means seeking mentorship or some sort of guidance from people who are experienced in your field, right? Or figuring out a way to like solidify your career path or make some, you know, important key investments in terms of your career. And I'm not only talking about like financial investments, I'm talking about your time, your effort, your energy, your focus. So I definitely just think that overall here, the Emperor represents you going through a period of transformation where you're going to be taking charge of your career and your finances, and you're going to have this eye on like long-term success, right? Long-term stability and long-term focus. So with the Ten of Swords here, Pile 3, I feel like this represents ending some sort of challenging chapter in your career or your finances, right? So I don't know if some of you here are going to be letting go of a career path or a job or a role that maybe has caused you a lot of stress, right? Maybe you're overworked, maybe you're just mentally exhausted or physically exhausted. But I definitely think that this is a time where you're starting to realize that there's something that no longer serves you, or there's something that no longer like aligns with your goals and your values. There's a lot of acceptance and closure here. So I do think that your transformation is going to come through accepting the things that have ended, and it's going to allow you to kind of release any sort of lingering attachments you have to any sort of situations that you feel like have held you back. So I think that with this card, while there's this energy of like closing the door on something, there is also this energy of a fresh start. There is a new opportunity or a new idea or some sort of new direction that might present itself, right? One that's more aligned with your true purpose. So I do think that this represents you releasing like financial struggles, right? So for those of you here who have gone through financial difficulties, the Ten of Swords here, I definitely think this represents the end of some sort of particularly challenging period. So while it may feel like you've been through, you know, really low points, it also signals that like, what is that term? Like it only goes up from here, right? When you hit rock bottom, it only goes up from here. So things are going to be improving for you, pile 3. I also feel like you might be like reassessing or reevaluating your finances, right? Whether this is like strategies or habits or, you know, investments. I just think that you're going to be re-looking at things and making sure that things are sustainable and that they're supporting your long-term goals, right? And I think that your goals can be something that is constantly like reworked, or your goals can be refined or, you know, changed up as you see fit. Now, I also feel like your career and your finances are going to be healing or recovering in some way, right? So there is definitely this chance to rebuild stronger foundations for your financial stability. So let's continue on with how your career and your finances are going to evolve. We have the clarity here. This one's this carrot, and we have Virgo energy. So Virgo as a sign brings a focus on practicality and organization and really having this attention to detail. So I do think that you're going to get a clearer sense of purpose in your career and your finances. I can see you like honing in on what truly matters and cutting through any confusion, right? And maybe adopting a more methodical approach to achieving your goals. I also feel like financially, this could mean getting your budget or your investments in order. Or maybe with your career, it's going to involve you refining your skills or focusing on an area of expertise where you actually feel like you're thriving, right? So I think that with Virgo here, it definitely encourages like a very thoughtful, efficient way of working. And I think that this is going to show you that this will lead you to things like steady and reliable progress. We also have the 5th house here. This one says passion. So this is the house that's associated with things like creativity, like self-expression and passion. You know, it's often tied to things like hobbies and romance and children. So in the context of your career and your finances, I definitely think that this represents you having this potential shift where you're following your passion or you're following your creative pursuits more deeply. I think that you might find that your work becomes more enjoyable as you align, you know, with your heart's desires, right? I think that you're going to see a lot more financial opportunities open up through your creative endeavors or the projects that really do bring you joy, pile 3. So maybe this is a sign for you to invest in something that you love, whether this is, you know, something like a new business idea or creative work, or even leveraging a personal hobby into a career. You know, in terms of what you will achieve, pile 3, or what you will realize next, we have the Magician here. And with this card represents things like mastery and things like resourcefulness and the ability to manifest your desires through things like skill and willpower and focus. So I definitely think that you're going to recognize that like you have all of the tools that you actually need to create what you want in terms of your career and your finances. When you have the Magician here, it shows you that you will gain the confidence to control your circumstances and start actively shaping your future when you start to leverage the skills and the resources that you have to your fullest potential. We also have the Knight of Wands in reverse here. And so with this one, I feel like maybe this is my pile that has a lot of passion and a lot of enthusiasm, but I don't know if you have felt like maybe you've struggled with, like, you know, trouble following through, or maybe a little bit of impulsiveness, or just like not seeing things through all the way to the finish line. I feel like this is my pile that's probably very busy, has a lot of responsibilities, has a lot of things going on. So when this card is reversed like this, it urges us to slow down. It urges us to focus our energy, because sometimes when we act without like having a clear plan, or when we act where we're like rushing into projects without thinking, it can really lead us to a lot more frustration in our journey. So I think it's all about learning to channel your energy more purposefully and avoiding, you know, efforts that feel scattered, and focus on one path at a time. We also have the Honorable Warrior. This one says Mars. You know, it's so funny. When I saw this card, that song, I think it's called An Honorable Warrior. It's from the Moana, the first Moana movie, the soundtrack. But I'll try to remember to link it below in this video. But if not, go on YouTube and look up Moana, An Honorable Warrior. But there's a line in that song where she's like, there's a line in that song where she says, "I have crossed the horizon to find you." So I definitely think you have been on this like arduous, challenging journey, pile 3, and there's a lot that you've done. Mars is the planet of action and courage and fighting for a cause. So with the Honorable Warrior, I feel like you're going to come to realize that by you fighting for your values, and by you taking bold steps with that integrity that you have, and by you using that energy strategically, you will find success, right? It says, "I take a stand for positive change." And we have a bunch of descriptors down here. I think that this is your natural abilities, pile 3. So you are brave, you are courageous, you are strong, passionate, bold, hardworking, territorial, athletic, competitive, decisive, heroic, loyal, disciplined, and action-driven. I also feel like there could be a realization that maybe true success comes from harnessing your drive in alignment with whatever your goals are, right? Or whatever your values are. Rather than just like rushing ahead and acting out of like sheer just enthusiasm, it's about like harnessing and really like refining this energy, because it's very powerful, right? And I really think that you're here to enact a lot of change, pile 3. We also have look back at it. So this one says, "You've come a long way. Sometimes growth is so incremental that you barely realize it's happening. Mentally bring yourself back to where it all began, especially when you're feeling stuck or discouraged. A little reflection can highlight your progress. The task that's challenging you today probably isn't the same one that tripped you up a few years ago. The goal that's taking a little extra effort might have seemed completely unattainable in the past. When you see how far you've come, you start to believe that you can do it again. Keep going and keep growing." Wow. So I think that this is just a reminder for you to reflect on how far you've come. Reflect. I mean, like, don't go into the weeds with all of your challenges if it's not necessary, but acknowledge how far you've come. Acknowledge all of the growth and all of the obstacles that you've had to overcome, right? All these things that brought you the lessons, right? And the clarity, and the things that have brought you more into alignment with what truly matters to you, your passion, right? You can truly manifest anything it is that you desire, pile 3. You just have to believe it, you know? And I know that sounds cheesy, but that's the energy of this reading here. So thank you so much, pile 3. I hope that this video resonates with you. Please give it a big thumbs up if it does, and comment below with what pile you chose. I love to chat with you all in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you. Please take care of yourself, and I do hope to see you on the next video after this. Check out my channel, Tidal Tarot. I have a bunch of pick-a-card readings on my channel for you to explore, but if not this time, I will see you back on the next reading. Bye, pile 3. Okay, so pile 4. What is transforming in your career and your finances? We have the 2 of Swords in reverse. So with this card, I feel like maybe some of you here feel like you have a significant decision or a choice to make. And I don't know if you've already made this choice, but I do think that there's some sort of decision that is going to shift the direction of your path. So when the Two of Swords is in reverse, it's like this moment of release from indecision, right? Or going through like a stalemate, or just finally feeling like there's a sense of clarity coming after a period of feeling very conflicted internally. So I don't know if the Two of Swords in reverse here represents you no longer being at a crossroads, maybe finding the courage to make a choice that really brings you more of a resolve, right? I definitely think that, again, you're going to feel relieved, you're going to feel more clarity. And this is also you letting go of like any sort of mental barriers, right? So maybe you're letting go of mental blocks or maybe fears that were holding you back. With this card, I also feel like you're going to be releasing any sort of doubt or hesitation that really slowed your career or your financial progress too. So I do think that this card is like you accepting change. I think that it's like this readiness to embrace change, even if it means stepping into the unknown, right? Even if it means stepping into unfamiliar territory. I definitely think that this transformation could be leading you to a more assertive stance, both in your career and your finances, where I don't think you're going to fear the choices in front of you anymore. So overall here, I just feel like you're going to move past a period of feeling indecision, right? And you're going to enter a time where you're actively embracing whatever feels necessary for you to, whatever changes feel necessary to you to propel your career and your finances forward. We also have the Eight of Wands in reverse here. And so with the Eight of Wands here, I feel like whatever changes or transformation that's happening for you in your career and your finances, maybe you feel like it's happening for you at a slower pace, or you feel like you're going through delays, right? So maybe you've gone through, maybe you feel like there's like some sort of interruption or some sort of obstacle. I don't know if this represents you needing to reassess the way that you're approaching things, right? Whether this is in communication or in decision making, or maybe in the timing of your actions. But yeah, I don't know if there's just this feeling of like feeling like things aren't moving forward as they should. In terms of finances, I feel like you're going to be bringing in more careful consideration before you move ahead, right? So I don't know if you're like waiting for a breakthrough or some sort of opportunity to manifest or to materialize, right? Or maybe there's some sort of pause in a project or some sort of like, financial endeavor, and it will allow you time to kind of like get reorganized or to reflect before you take that next step. So I definitely think that this is the card that reminds us to be patient, to kind of refocus and to maybe reevaluate some of your plans or your goals. We also have positivity, and this one says marigold, and then we have the sign of Leo. So in terms of how your career and your finances will evolve, marigold symbolize things like positivity, things like joy, things like having very bright energy, right? That fuels our success. And Leo here represents things like creativity and self-confidence and leadership, right? So I feel like for those of you, so for Pile 4, I feel like in your career, maybe you're going to step into a role where you feel like you're able to shine, you feel like you're able to take charge, and you feel like you're able to express yourself authentically. I also feel like for some of you here, this could be a rise in visibility or like recognition for your efforts, whether this is in a leadership role or maybe as an influencer in your field. But I definitely think that your finances are going to improve as a result of your confidence and your bold moves. So there's definitely a lot of creative energy here, Pile 4, and I feel like your ability to think big and to take risks are going to pay off. We also have Sagittarius, and this one says expand, so I definitely think that this confirms what we were just talking about. Sagittarius brings us expansion and growth and this sense of adventure. So I do think that your career is going to evolve into a much broader, more expansive phase. Maybe some of you here are drawn to new opportunities that'll push you beyond your current boundaries. I don't know if this is going to be in the form of a new role, or maybe like you're going to move somewhere geographically or explore some sort of untapped area of your field. And in terms of finances, I feel like this is the card that talks about having like this influx of opportunities that really could lead to greater wealth. And, you know, especially if you're open to exploring any sort of like new venture or investment. Now I want to talk about what you're going to achieve or what you're going to realize next. So we have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. And so with this card, I feel like while there's opportunities for financial growth, right? While there's opportunities for career advancement that are on the horizon for you, maybe some of you are feeling like, again, there's delays or missed chances or some sort of like initial struggle to manifest these fully. So again, it invites you to reassess how you're approaching your goals, right? Are you overlooking any sort of potential opportunities, right? Or are you hesitant to invest in something new? Maybe you're going to realize that there is value in grounding your ideas with practical steps, or maybe even like reworking some sort of like plan to make sure that you hit your objectives and your goals and those kinds of things. We also have the Empress here, which is really, really positive because this speaks to abundance and creativity and this nurturing energy. So I think that you are going to realize your ability to create and manifest wealth, Pile 4. You're going to realize that you can manifest success and growth by really tapping into your creative potential and really by deepening and nurturing the seeds of your ideas. So I feel like this is the card that represents you having these achievements in projects or any sort of endeavors that require patience and love, right? And tending to something, whether this is in business or art or in your personal relationships. I also feel like you're going to achieve a deeper connection with nature or a sense of balance between work and life. We also have the Queen here. This one says Moon, and this says, I am an empowered feminine leader. And some words to describe your natural talents, Pile 4, are regal, courageous, prosperous, loyal, powerful, compassionate, intuitive, responsible, administrative, knowledgeable, and trustworthy. So I do think that this card represents you realizing your intuitive and your emotional power. I think that you're going to start trusting in that inner voice, and you're going to start trusting in that heightened awareness of any sort of hidden truth that is there. I definitely feel like there's this sense of stepping into a more regal or empowered version of yourself, right? One that leads with emotional intelligence and, with clarity. We also have intro. So this one says, when you're in regular conversation with yourself, you become more aware of the conversations you need to have with others. It's time to bring the insights gathered from your inner world into the world around you. Verbalizing what's within can feel intimidating. Thankfully, you've developed the skills that will see you through. Listen with your whole body, and you'll know when a conversation needs to happen. Inquire within as you prepare. Give pep talks as needed. You've cultivated your voice. It's time to share it. Interesting. So Pile 4, how is it that you've been feeling called to express yourself, right? How have you been called to share your voice? Because maybe this is a reminder that this is what's going to bring you into expansion. This is what's going to bring you into abundance, right? So yes, thank you so much, Pile 4. I hope that this all resonates with you. Please give this video a like if it did. Comment below with what pile you chose. I love to chat with you all in the comments. Please subscribe if you have not already. Thank you. Take care of yourself. I hope to see you on the next reading after this. Check out my channel, Tidal Tarot. I have a bunch of different pick a card readings for you to check out. But if not this time, I will see you back on the next reading. Bye, Pile 4.